Hello, Aquarius, and welcome to May 2021. Oh, this month. It is such a refreshing month, an honest month, a mind-bending kind of month. It's all about shifting our perspectives and kind of doing a tune-up where we've kind of let ourselves fall into some spaces that maybe aren't feeling so good. So this is a really powerful month, and the main thing to do is you want to make sure you're keeping your attention on where you're wanting to go and releasing some tension and some attention on things that don't feel so good anymore or that you don't even really want. And the message that came up right away for me with Aquarius was, how would it feel? It's just like kind of a fun mental exercise to ask, how would it feel if I just took off all the pressures of this life, like all the pressures to produce, to be, to look a certain way, to act a certain way, to show up a certain way? What if I took off all of those pressures and I took all that weight off my shoulders, all that weight out of my mind, and I just let myself sit there and I just say, I don't have to be any of those things. I don't have to worry about it. Just for this afternoon, I can just let it all go. And when you let yourself relax into that for a little while, what shows up? What ideas, what creative ventures, what thoughts, what desires start to rise up in you when you take that pressure off of your shoulders? Two of Swords. I always see Two of Swords and I think about how so often we want to jump to a decision, we want to jump to an idea, we want to force ourselves into movement or action, and the Two of Swords kind of holds us still for a moment to look inside, to review, to reflect, to be soft. Four of Swords. Okay, we got some rest and recharge energy moving through here. Now, I haven't even gotten to the main messages of this month. Like as far as transits, this is kind of a wild month. There's a lot going on. Jupiter moves from your sign this month into your neighboring sign of Pisces for a little bit. Jupiter will be coming back to join you later this year for a few months before moving back into Pisces next year. But we do have this big shift in Jupiter, right? It's not with you guys anymore. It's moving into Pisces. And this is going to be about your self-value, your self-worth. You're going to notice an amplification of you really wanting to feel that from the inside out. And an emphasis on that being the pathway through which you find your footing in the physical world. So very important. We also have Mercury entering pre-shadow in your fellow air sign of Gemini. This is going to be about your heart, your creativity, what you really want to make and do from the heart, and a review process around that, and radical authenticity when it comes to that. So for the next couple of months, Mercury and Gemini is going to be doing this work with you all. It's going to be really interesting to see how it amplifies that, how it helps you to get really clear on what it is you want to do. And a lot of it has to do with that message I just said about taking the weight off of your shoulders, not feeling that pressure, and what is there when we take that weight off. We also have eclipse season beginning once we get into Gemini season, and we have all this energy moving into Gemini. We have a full moon lunar eclipse starting the eclipse season off in Sagittarius, 11th house energy. So there's just a lot going on, and that eclipse season is going to be really great for you all for, once again, reviewing what you want to create, how you want to share that. Five of Wands, excuse me. All right. I know you Aquarians have some opinions. I like it. You guys always make me laugh. Fun to talk to about all sorts of things. Let's wait for one more card to come out here. The Tower. What is with this card? I'm telling you, because you guys are close to the ends of my chats this month, and the sun was at the bottom of the deck, so I'm going to include that because I just looked over and saw it. But the Tower has shown up for so many signs. I mean, at least half, I would say, it's shown up for. At least half, maybe more. I'm not sure. But it's so wild. This is what I'm talking about with the mind bending. And I think Aquarius, y'all are on board with me with this, which is just like the Tower keeps showing up. And the thing is, it keeps showing up in contexts where it's about how we think of ourselves and how we have defined or labeled ourselves, and is it working for us? And do we want to keep living in that tower? Do we want to keep living in that dictatorship within ourselves? And there's like there's a radical shift, and it's internal. I don't think this is just about culture. And of course, it becomes about our larger collective when everybody's going through this kind of review, right? Of course, that's going to change the dynamics. It's going to change the conversations. It's going to change a lot of things. But this is about an internal thing. And let's just go through this, because like what I'm seeing here is you're going to be asked to stop and to not move every time something feels like a battle. Something feels like that weight on your shoulders, like that yoke around your shoulders that you're carrying and dragging. And on the one hand, we have this reflective energy, the Two of Swords, the Four of Swords. Rest, slow down. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. If you can, find spaces of time to relax, rest, meditate, however that looks for you. And this is partially that Jupiter and Pisces shift is going to be emphasizing this type of work as so creative, so productive. And that countercultural thing of like productivity is in slowing down, speeding up is in slowing down. That's what Two of Swords, Four of Swords speaks about. But it also speaks about trying to force ourselves to take action on things that it just, every time you try and get it done, every time you try to make it happen like on your timeline or the way you think you're supposed to or have to do it, resistance comes. And then you're just asked to sit down and slow down and rest and relax. And then Five of Wands, you know, this is a card of disagreement, you know, like, let's be real. This is a card of battling it out, of having a disagreement, having a difference of opinion, feeling a bit combative. And, you know, on the one hand, this can be important if you have something you really need to express, right? Sometimes it's important to have differences of opinion and have it out with somebody, right? And to even if we have differences of opinion and we don't necessarily want to go there, just acknowledging our own differences of opinion. But this card also, to me, when I see it, this isn't really going to get much done. Let's be real. Like it has limits as far as what it can do for us in our lives, being in combat like that, right? It can only take us so far. And I often find that when we're starting to get in these Five of Wands situations, there's an indicator there that something's a little off about it. Something's a little out of balance. Something's needing to be shifted. And it speaks again to there may be a path you're trying to push yourself on, an identity you're trying to push on yourself, a set of expectations, ideas, deadlines, what have you, that you're trying to push on yourself, that every time you try and cram yourself in there, Aquarius, it feels a little icky. It feels a little tingly. It feels a little off. It feels a little like you're having to battle your way through it. You're having to take extra naps because it's enervating you. You're getting confused because you can't understand what's going on. And so there's this this is where the radical honesty is coming in, because all these things are important because they're little signposts. They're little like arrows that are helping you find out what it is you want to release and let go of. Because the way that this tower is showing up for everyone, all the signs that have gotten it, it's this sense of like, why do you keep putting yourself in this prison? Why do you keep feeling like you have to live in this terrible, terrible prison all day, every day? Because there's this other stuff going over here. You're totally allowed to join anytime you want. Anytime you want. You can access yourself. You can access all the wisdom that it wants to bring you, all the ideas, all the energy, all the excitement, all the ease, all that soft, gooey, warm, radiating energy of creativity. Because Aquarius, you have so much creativity to play with. And that's the sun. That's the party. That's the fun. And the sun is accessed through taking that pressure off your shoulders, taking off these mantles, these identities, these heavy thoughts, these haunted house ideas, and realizing they're not you. They're not your essential self. They're not requirements for you to be here in this life. They're not requirements for you to be a good person or do good work or be accountable or be consistent or be lovable. Like, none of these pressures that we put on ourselves or these stories about our worth or our value are actually requirements for how to be an accountable, creative, beautiful, loving person in life. They're just these frameworks that often show up in our lives very early on, and through trauma and through stressors and through self-protection mechanisms that aren't necessarily grounded in any kind of knowable, objective truth. As much as we may initially say, yes, it is objective truth. It's objective truth that you have to show up to work a certain way every day. And of course, we want to respect those around us. We want to respect the time of others. We want to respect the resources of others. Of course we do. But we don't ever have to stay. We don't ever have to look a certain way, be a certain way, truly, truly, right? And I always say, even if it feels like you're in a place in life where you can't just be making choice. You can't just go willy-nilly. You have like people to take care of and you have responsibilities, and it's not just going to be like, oh, tomorrow I'm just going to wake up and take my shoes off and run away and never do anything again. I get that. Just allowing for the possibility that things can shift, that there can be a different job, that there can be a different community, that there can be a different relationship, that there can be a different day-to-day schedule, that there can be a different set of goals and ideas in your life. Even if it takes some time and it takes some pivots and it takes some adjustment and it takes planting those little seeds, just acknowledging that it's possible we could make shifts. It's possible there could be more supportive environments for us. It's possible there could be better relationships. That is so powerful. Because if we say no, there is no possibility of that. We never even plant one seed. We never even let ourselves look outside the tower. We just say, oh, the tower is all there is. That's all there is. And this month is just like not gonna hold. And I know I'm preaching to the choir a little bit, because Aquarians, I know you guys think outside of the box. I know you guys are very creative, inventive, but even the most creative, inventive people can box themselves in their standards for being creative and inventive. Box themselves in for their standards for how radical they need to be, how expressive they need to be, how on top of it they need to be. There's so many ways that we do this to ourselves, and it looks different for everyone. But you're being invited here. When all is said and done, we can talk about these challenge cards, right? The Two of Swords, the Five of Wands, the Tower, and these places that feel like you are ready to make a shift. But the thing that's really speaking to me here is this Sun card, this naked kid. That sounds so wrong. This little guy, he's riding around on his horse having a great time. He's reveling in his playful, childlike nature. And I find it really interesting when we let that inner child speak and do the work. That the answers and the solutions that come in are so interesting and so on the money so often. I was also just thinking about how, all of our favorite sitcoms have the childlike fool character, and it's like they don't do things via what's assumed to be true culturally, right? Like Phoebe and Friends, or Andy in Parks and Rec. I'm trying to think of other ones. There's, they kind of just go do things. They don't even realize there's a rule in place, and we always are fascinated by those characters because they just kind of go for it and play. And actually, I think Phoebe on Friends is an Aquarius. They changed her birthday a couple of times, but I'm pretty sure her first birthday was in February. And I was just thinking about how those characters so often have really interesting storylines where things work out for them, but it's not because they pre-thought it out and didn't trust themselves, right? It's part of their appeal and part of their fascination is they're just kind of like, oh yeah, let's try it and see what happens. And I feel like that's sun energy too, and that's Aquarian energy. It's in one aspect of Aquarian energy, I think. But there's just such an invitation here to go play. Don't worry about all these pressures you have on yourself. And when you notice them there, call them out. Maybe that's the inner battle. Call them out and say, no, I'm not going to be up for review on this review board anymore. I'm going to go ahead and listen to this inner child over here who's got some ideas. We're going to plant some seeds. We are going to let the possibility that I won't have to live this same way and that my answers can come be a part of my life. That's what I'm going to do. Gosh, this month is just going to be so interesting to see how it unfolds. Please let me know how it's going, Aquarius. I'd love to see your comments below and see what you all have been going through. I'd love it if you stuck around here too for all our different chats that we will be having in the coming months. You can find me on Patreon as well. I'm going to be doing deep dives on Jupiter and Pisces, on Mercury retrograde and Gemini, on eclipse season. We're going to go all in. We're going to be doing worksheets, chats, all the good stuff so that you have support through that. If you want that extra support, I'd love to see you. You can also find me on my website and my Instagram. So I'll leave all those links below, as well as Etsy, PinkLune's Etsy shop. So that's all I gotta say, my friends. I love you. I can't wait to talk to you again very, very soon about life, existence, and all these little nuggets in kernels inside of ourselves that are just waiting to be shine bright. I don't know. I'm losing my words. All right. I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon.